everybody? How's the weather outside? Already? Cold, wet, rainy. Yeah. Yeah. I think they melt a lot of snow, right? Yeah. Good. The environment gets a lot of water. But good, go to town a little bit difficult, right? What to get?
Slowly. Slowly. Little so slow.
Good, good. Car will have to slowly, mountain will rush. Okay, anyway. Everybody set that perfect motivation in order to achieve enlightenment, benefit all the sentient beings. Therefore, I study, I meditation, I do prostration, I do pujas, whatever you do, virtuous things, the motivation is very important. Then in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, we always do that. And we need to know what's Buddha, what's Dharma, what's Sangha. You know, then we don't know, then we just say, oh, someone there, then just let me pray someone there, You know, Buddha is everywhere Buddha. Whenever your mind thinks the Buddha there. The king place, called the children of the that's Sanji Kawan Shuyoris. Sanji Song Tuji Kawan. Sanji Tuji Kawan Jesala, and Sanji
So I say that there's a Buddha everywhere. Wherever there's a Buddha's thought, there's a Buddha. So since Buddha's thought is everywhere, therefore there is Buddha everywhere.
Right. Therefore, because Buddha understands knowledge, all the phenomena, all the things. Like we can put something here. You can see everybody, right? Same Buddha knows everything. And how Buddha know? Buddha's Tibetan word, the true syllabus, Sangje. Sang means freedom, all the negative karmas, all the non-virtuous. Sang means free, abandon, all that. Je means Shijara Lutu Jevaris. What? I said Jevaris. Shijara Lutu Jeva, Chano Tus Jevaris. Shijara Chano Tus Jevaris.
So that means, Je means like to know everything. So he knows everything.
Therefore, Sangye, Buddha. Right? Today, by that Sangye, that Manchi be Shisha Meva, and that Shisha, that Yevakali, the Shia, something Jangoris. Together, and Sanji got so much Kachula, and Sanji took it up. And Kichabu goes on to
So there isn't anything Buddha doesn't know, so therefore anything that Buddha knows, that is Buddha's thought, and everything that everything that has the Buddha's thought, there is a Buddha. So and also same with the Buddha's speech. So Buddha's speech is Buddha, Buddha's thought is also Buddha.
Wow. Today by that another Takadi Kadina Namjumanzo. That Tawachu Chuchego is. Never loved it, not Tawachu.
So we always claim ourselves as a Mahayanist, right? Mahayana practitioner.
Mahayana, you don't Mahayana say,
so it depends on individuals and whether one is Mahayanist or not.
And 강한 제약의 최대 대화춤을 추는 거죠. 강사 냠을 쉐바보다 대화춤을 쓰고 그래서 대처발라 아니 대화춤보다 생체 쓰고 그래서.
So it is not sufficient, for the Dharma to be Mahayana Dharma. The person has to be Mahayanist. So in order for the person to be Mahayanist, he or she has to have the realization of bodhicitta.
근데 이제다 삼제 탐정에다 사제 공부 톱고도 다때 톱발라 다 말하다 톱이야리 답시하는데 네바야만 다 가르쳐고 상도당을 했어.
And so, so right now, well, one has attained that one must achieve or lead all sentient beings to the state of full enlightenment, and that has to be done by oneself. But right now, one doesn't have any methods or any power to do so.
근데 삼제 탐정 누가도 탐질로도 째와라 삼제 탐정 누가 하고 그랬어.
And so, in order to have that thought, wanting them to be free from all the sufferings, you have to have that thought that understands their sufferings.
근데 삼제 탐정 누가 삼발라 도마 안에 랑티데 랑기 누가 삼고 그랬어.
And so, before you can think about the suffering of other sentient beings, you should be able to think about your own suffering.
아니 쇼주 질문을 해. 삼제 나타 만나는. 그러면 물론다 마음이나 이제다 가니스. 다 삼제 강가라 간시 소수 동아대 소수 동아와 있다. 동아 만나고 왔대. 물론다 많이 와 있나? 다 남지 삼로다 파샤. 물론 저들이 니 많이 와나. 다 옌지도 삼제 동아도 찾아야 돼. 다 주먹 말해서. 좀 말해서
So, people who doesn't think about oneself, there's no way they can think about others, right? And so those who don't even think about themselves, even in their own dreams, then how would they be able to think about others when they're awake? So there's no way they can think about others if they can't think about their own sufferings.
근데 누가 대야 아니 가도 가 내가랑 로고 그래. 어다 가라서 그래. 지지 제거를 지지 드리게 강에도 말했어.
And so that kind of suffering is not just simple suffering that we talk about, that something that we complain about, saying that, oh, I don't want to go to work, but I have to go to work, I don't want to cook, but I have to cook, and so forth. So that kind of complaints. We're not talking about those kind of simple sufferings.
Right? Usually we think about only the sufferings. That is it. Oh, I have problem with my family, my partner, my boss, we just think about their problems, right? It doesn't go all the deeps. 다 된지기 파 로에나 아니 강 메다 동아 달아야 아니 저 제미 동아니 제미 차원지 동아 숨레 들어와.
So there are so the sufferings that we don't wish, those we don't want to wish, we don't wish to experience. There are those sufferings, mainly there was the suffering of change, and all pervasive suffering.
And we know that. 하고 was.
So you all know that already, right? You know each of them, one and each of them, right?
Which was more difficult?
Pervasive.
The
most subtle.
Yeah, good. 저기다 딱 고이동하라고 고이동.
So samsaric suffering.
고이동. 된지가 다 된지가 동안에 단길로 아무 소소 동안에 나와요. 삼다네 대나시다 선지지는 동안에 나와요. 다 동안에 콘조다 라다 선지가 동안에 타와라 다 탑이 가르치고 도서는 다 깜로서 상지세 생각해서.
So in order to free others, in order to have that wish, wanting others to be free from suffering, one has to have that wish upon oneself. And so that that wish, which wants oneself to be free from suffering, and then one, seeks the way to be free, and then one finds that, Buddha has the power to protect us from those sufferings. So then we take refuge in the Buddha.
부다를 파워에 지나가나 코로나 동아들의 타스만 인가이다 다 코로나에 쪼여 니가 그랬어.
And so the reason why Buddha has the power is because he himself is free from the sufferings.
아니 공양치 대 타야기 다 쪼비가 다 탑게와 투지 친구다 다 니가 그랬어. 탐쳐가.
So it's not only he is free from all the suffering himself, but also he is skilled in freeing others from their sufferings.
아니 대야 아니 끝난 이지 뭐 이름이 와가 아니 배 따마도 가니까 배동생이 그랬어.
And in addition to that, he also has compassion towards all beings equally, and help them when they have harmed or helped him.
What Renata Sanji said, Kanji Thubten Damchoe.
And so therefore the Buddha is the founder of refuge.
아니 공거 강화 때 셔베다 냠네들다 다 중국 중에도 말다 중국 중에도 말어 셔버가 왔다 뭐게 좀 세야도 나와서 냠네 세야로 연라도 냠네 사다 분들하고도 다 중국 중에도 말어 달라고
So all the so all the teachings that's taught by Buddha and all those practices, the practice of abandonment, 10 virtuous actions, practice of the 3 trainings, or practice of the 7 limbs, and so forth. So those are all, dharma, and not the actual dharma, that protects us from all the sufferings, not the entire cycle existence, but they do protect us from some of the sufferings, right? So therefore, they're not the actual dharma, but a similar dharma.
가나 무게체가 두종풍 라와트니 냠들에 연라도 냠진다 아니 맞아 개와사인 거 된다 다 무게가 막방으로 그래 추초로 그래서.
So if you engage in the practice of abandonment, 10 virtuous action, that itself will allow us to be free from certain kind of sufferings, and accumulate more virtues or merits, and therefore that becomes a cause for us to be free from suffering.
다 뒤에나가 출근 좀 은혜돼 딱 먼저 거와 누가는 양충이 싸워도 뜬금대서 말이야 뜬금대서 말이야.
So what causes us to experience all this suffering is mainly the delusions, like and all the root of all the delusion is the grasping at true existence.
뜬금대서 때 가내려 빌라고 했나 배나 예지라면에 대한민국 문에 접하대 다 옛날 사람들이 다 로직이 말해서.
And so that ignorance, which grasps at things as existent truly, is the mind, that thinks whatever, whatever that we perceive, they all exist from their own side. So thinking that is grasping at true existence.
다 옛인데 옛지들라면에 코라 나지 맞아가 또 로달아야 다 되면 또 별로 그랬어.
So the mind that which understands that things do not exist the way they appear to us or from their own side, is the mind that understands the emptiness of existing from their own side.
배나 조선 다시 하는 니값도 뭘해 something logical was nothing was.
So there can be a mind which thinks this cup is a ball, right?
대리 ball something 로테 쳐가 was.
So that mind, is a mistaken mind, right?
다 대리 로테 매화까지 있었나? 대 ball 많이 맞던 로지고 대 로테 다 ball이 맞던 로테 고 매화서 줘야지.
And so how do you eliminate that mind, that mistaken mind, is by generating the mind that understands that it's not ball, right? And so they both are looking at the same thing, right? So they're looking at the one object, one thinks it's a ball, which is wrong, and the other thinks, it's not ball, which is right. So they're both looking at the cup, right? And one thinks it's ball, and one thinks it's not ball. So the mind, which thinks it's not ball is the correct mind. And so the mind which thinks it's the ball is the mistaken mind, and that mind is eliminated by the mind which thinks it's not ball. And so that kind of ignorance cannot be eliminated by generating compassion or generating bodhicitta in one's mind. And so it has to be mind which is observing the same object, same thing, like a cup in this case, but which sees in a totally contradicting or opposite way. So anyway, so the grasping and the true existence is just thinking that whatever appears to us is just as is exactly as it appears to us. So whenever we are able to generate the mind which thinks that things do not exist the way they appear to us, is the contrary mind to the mind which thinks that things exist just as they appear to us. So that's the actual Dharma.
다이나 대용하라. 어느 대더라도 먼저 또 옵니다. 다 먼저 죽이는 것도 팬토 믿어 먼저 나와야 들어.
And so, so it's not, if we think that, we don't have that now, and none of other things, will help us.
다 대리에다 다 나도 지금 샤사와 저거 배가 이제 공부 샤바 공부 아니 전설어가 아니 나도 쏘는 거 속마돼야 싹 대바도 맞추는데 다들 예 tempo 시험가 또 배워야 다 대학교적인 데려야 탄이야 강요를.
So we might think that none of other things will help, but they do help, right? Not to eliminate it completely from the root, but it adds up. So all these other practices adds up all these merits, so then which enable us to eventually realize the emptiness directly.
뭐들 다 죽는 게 되면 근데 다 견디게 줘야 돼. 아니 대강 양수를 내고 강사들아 다 견디게 줘라고 해서 줄이고 따로.
And so that's the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel, is whoever helps us to engage in those practices is called Sangha. And so that's the general way of the Buddhism.
다 된지가 나도 다 남의 냠네 제말아 아니 다 나도 빠자가 로시다 빠자 많이 로세 다 시바스 말로 니 송거에서
And so in order to do that kind of practices, there are minds, that are to be abandoned, and then there are minds that are to be cultivated. And so the mind, actually, there is a primary mind and the secondary or mental factor.
Okay, what's different there? Can you guys give me an example?
The primary mind, the mind and mental factor. What's the difference between mind and mental factor?
This is this is emergency homework. You call emergency for one thing. Just say it there. You guys know what the difference?
An example or the?
Yeah, just an example you can give. Look at this. We call this kind of mind. We say same.
So what do you call mind and what do you call mental factor?
Just if you can...
The I consciousness is a mind, primary mind.
Mm-hmm.
Aspiration is a mental factor.
미기 쉐바디 조선 그래서 아니 그래서 두 번째로 semjongles.
미시는 가가요. 미시는 담바도 지세는 가가요.
미시라.
미시 고주.
미기셔.
미시는 고주 좋아하는 거 가가요.
그 코드들 프랑스어. 미시 하나 조선그래서.
미시 코스 소스메나.
sembles. 미시 하나.
sembles.
두 번째로 내가 데레토나 데레체고도 데레체고서 두 번째로 예를 들면 조선그래 가서 semjongles.
다 대삼적인 semjongles 다 나타나서. You guys agree them?
Do others agree with that or not?
Yeah. But yeah, you have some. Go ahead. Yeah. Just say we have.
She's doing an experiment.
We have a speaker mic.
Speaker, yeah.
It's a central speaker.
I don't disagree. I just have a different kind of say.
Okay, give. That's true.
So, how's that?
Go ahead, yeah.
So the primary mind is general, mental factor is more specific. So for example, if you see the cup, the mind that sees the cup is the primary mind, and then the mind that sees the yellow orange of the cup would be the mental factor. So primary mind would be that's a cup, and the mental factor would be that's a orange cup or something. So the mental factor sees the specifics, the primary mind sees the general object.
That's good. That's good, yeah. That's good also, R&B said. It's also, good. 딱 미시는 것도 딱 소설을 누리러서. 남바 코라에 저는 샘슈리스로. 나 문제 남중한테 라파전에 다 자다 잉을 하나지 그 라라 그래서.
So what you were telling was like the examples, So what is the example of a primary mind and what is the example of the mental factor. So that's correct in that sense. But if you ask what's the difference between that and then the way Ian explained is more accurate, that's how you say, oh, okay, this is the primary mind and this is the mental factor.
Okay, well, this is good. Okay, now we need to finish the same moment.
So we're talking about the 11 virtues, right?
Okay, good job. So we're
I think we're talking about the scared one now, right?
Oh gosh.
Flancing 8. Page 45.
아니 모사 대화로서 같이 모사 티어로서 같이 맞춰봐 시작하고 존지 다들 시장 사들이
Page 45 you said?
Yes.
So we've gone through the effort last time, right? And now it's talking about the pliancy. Pliancy or pliancy?
Pliancy. That's how I would say it.
시장 사들이 아니
Pliancy, right?
간이를 나는 딱 넘어 그때네 시장 가신나 리당 생기 냉내는 전주디 싫어 리당 생래스로 왔는데 저한테서 레전드 쉬서 맞다고 다들 했어.
So, just like it says here in the Compendium of Knowledge, it says question, what is pliancy? Response is the serviceability of body and mind due to severing the continuum of unfavorable states of body and mind. It has the function of eliminating all obscurations.
모두 내가 제와는 영내 제와는 깔리카라 리칼리카는 샘플리카 니도 왔어.
And so when we are working or practicing Dharma, there is we get difficulties, the physical difficulties and mental difficulties, or you feel tired, right? Through your body or through your mind also, right?
Right. 그러나 개와 다시와이나 야마다 리포 대오메가 야마다 생고 제대로 정도
So when you're doing practice, you feel your body feels tired, or your mind feels tired and don't want to do it, right?
시마도야 개와 제와라 바시치긴데 레다 생기가 마인게다 수지나.
So is there anything else that obstructs us from doing our practice other than our mind or body?
Sometimes some outside things.
And so sometimes there be other things, right, from outside that can obstruct us from doing.
이게 다 좋고 간다. 다 나가서 분이 수수께 오는 거 제발라. 아니 다 수술 가는 제주도에 다 리더 생긴 말이죠.
And so anyway, so for us, during the practice, what causes the most difficulty for us to do our practice is our body, the difficulties of our body, the difficulties of our minds, right?
근데 다 레지딩에서 기회 샤워를 저처럼 되버렸다. 근데 꽃도 무료와 지내지려고 했다. 수도 강한 대왕 짓다. 짐 무료와. 다 제가 짐 때문에 짐 때문에 샤워하시니까 다 레지딩에서.
어디론데?
리더 생기는 게 아니라 근데 마음 좀 못돼. 아니 딱 가지 리더 생기는 게 아니라 아니 기회 샤워를 짓다 안 되버렸다. 시에도 못 봐. 시에 못 줘. 말 들리려고 그래.
So, well, it's the difficulties through the body or difficulties through the mind, that causes you not to be able to do the practice. Or here, the term that you used here is called unserviceability. So the mind that is not serviceable, or body that is not serviceable, means like it is facing some difficulties. So because of that, it's not able to do what we want it to do. So there's this mind and the body, the unserviceability of the mind and unserviceability of the body. And so when we're doing practice, then we feel tired of sitting, straight or cross-legged, for a long time, and so that's the difficulties of the body, or unserviceability of the body.
Are you tired? When you stay half hour, then you legs sleeping too tight. You have to leg down this way. It's okay. You Tara say, yeah, Jang, you come. Tara also sometimes you do this way. If someone says, oh, don't do that, you say, oh, I'm just copy from the Tara. He just something you have to check complete this. It's all, but I just copy from the Tara. One Tibetan guy, usually sometimes he come to recite the 21 Tara here. Then sometimes he put his feet on the ground, sometimes he do this, he just asked, what are you doing? So I told him, he said, oh, I recite the Tara. Tara, the verse is there. Yeah, John, you are going there.
How cool.
He do real was exactly practice. If someone say, he say, oh, why you do this? He say, oh, he says, oh, I just follow the Tara.
Or you can copy the Traya.
Yeah, you can say, you can just follow it. Anyway, it's joking, okay? There's that kanji, and Liji Nanga, Semji Nanga said, and that kanji gave Shavala, that Jum Muching, that you are purchasing it, that Shawasa can be
So the unserviceability of body or mind in this context. So I mean, you can think, you can apply that into any kind of event or situations. But here we're talking about the Dharma practice. So that body or mind that obstructs us from engaging in the practice of the Dharma is called the unserviceability of the body or unserviceability of mind.
아니 되게 셀레를 간다 저와 탐주 세워지고 레친데 아니 다 시장에 도바였나 아니 저와 탐주 딱 빠던 거리 매워서 도 거리 되게 셀레요 그래서와
And so this pliancy, is the serviceability of body and mind, right? And so if you have the pliancy, then your body will become serviceable, your mind will become serviceable to do the practice, and so and then allowing you to eliminate the obscuration. So if you are able to do the practice, physically and mentally, then you'll be able to eliminate all the obstructions. So that's the function of the pliancy, is that it eliminates all obscurations.
다때 다 자주서 간다 뭔가 그득만 대시 소마듯이 다들 대시 정서 말아야 다 시소 마트라스 샘기미 운발라 쳤다를 더바진다 꾸르비 라지 조바시비 조바시지 리sem지 냉엘리 전주비 리바시고 다들 리바시라 그래서.
And so that is what is said in the Compendium of Knowledge, and then when it's kind of explained or commentated, and it says in the below there, just as it has been said above, it is the knower that deposits an imprint so that the mind can be applied however one wishes to a virtuous object of observation, and that severs the continuum of unfavorable states of body and mind. And so that's the explanation or the commentary given in this text.
다 간지 아니 다 시장 세대 간지 다 시장 세대 맨날 당도 신에서 도와내고 그래서.
So anyway, so if we don't have that pliancy, then it is not possible to achieve karma binding.
karma binding은 라도요 말했어.
So if you don't have karma binding, then there is no special insight.
다 되니까 맨날 아니 다 돈이나 미백하니 다 신호수리 세는 거 뭐예요 말했어.
So if we don't, if we don't have that karma binding and special insight, then then there's no way, we can meditate on the emptiness, or no way we can have karma binding, especially inside, focus on emptiness. If we don't have that, then there's no way to engage in the practice of Tantra. So they are all kind of interrelated in that way. And so, of course, there are some realizations you can have of karma binding before you can have that pliancy. And so then when it says when divided, the pliancy is of two types, the physical pliancy and mental pliancy. And then the physical pliancy is such that through the power of meditative stabilization and serviceability of the body is purified, whereupon the body is buoyant. The body is buoyant and light, like a ball of cotton, and can be applied to virtuous activity according to one's wish. And so anyways, the body becomes very light and flexible, and it becomes easy to engage in the practice. And then the mental pliancy is such that through the power of meditative stabilization, the mind becomes free of unserviceability, wherever it becomes amenable to application to an object of observation without hindrance. So it's similar with the mind and the body. So body, there should be no difficulties in terms of the body to engage in the practices. And then also same with the mind, the mental pliancy, with the mental pliancy, you will find no difficulties to engage in the virtues in terms through your mind. Something similar, one java. Shine said, that decision there was something said, Shine said, that's kind of one thing we double it is. And then Jana, you may wrong. But some question that usually Pamu Shavana, something Jawan make it. Ranaji, they way much. And the Tana Park, Walla Pamu and the Tana Yana, give Tana, give me Bakana, part, give what I call sometime, Chadalapan to me. Listen, let's really ditch into that, leave sending a tire watching it. There is one she had the race, and then in the quote below it says, moreover, the foremost Lama Tsongkhapa says in his line in the Songs of Experience, it says, concentration is the king ruling the mind. When placed in it, the mind is immovable as the king of mountains. When employed, it engages in all virtuous objects of observation and induces the great bliss of serviceable body and mind.
다 시장 간데데 신에서 신에서 때 토가 있나? 아무 생 간데 jel라치 삼도 당하다 근데 생 바요고 말까지 생 삼도 당 토고요 그래서.
And so when it says when employed, it's like when you use your mind, to engage in some kind of practice or to do some meditation or to focus or observe on some object, then it is very easy. You'll be able to focus on anything you want if you have calm abiding.
What she is about the Shelena Javato is letting know she's on Banas, that Javato dictator, dictator, about Javato limitation. And Shijanji is to the Simji Ningle Tamcha Tabani, that leader Simbi, Shijan to Tobala, Tene, Lism in the Kava, Papa Miocha.
And so, it's like it says earlier, right? So the function of this mind, is that it will eliminate all the obscurations. So now this is the explanation of that. It says this function is specified as eliminating all obscurations, because through the force of pliancy, all unfavorable states of body and mind will be purified.
And then she ought not thinking than last. None that thing she don't talk about that thing that none good and none part young Yamashu Tani, things about company roads. And then take cousin Pava Samji, she young Deva Yaya Parodes. And take cousin Pava Samji, and anything that young in Perlin, the Dovata just say, to change shooting roads.
So it says here, right? Because through the force of pliancy, all unfavorable state of mind and body will be purified, and upon attaining pliancy, meditative stabilization, having been aroused from within, and it will increase simply through this increase. The bliss of pliancy will increase due just to this increase. Meditative stabilization will increase, and thereby the mind will be empowered to overcome obscurations.
Okay. 답변하는 가지 단다 차서 변하는 차서 취소합니다. semje 탐식은 다 산지 공부하고 쇼님의 삼트 대 주부 가는데 저도 까먹게 됐어요. 새끼 가게 됐어요.
So for example, the thought, thinking I must achieve state of full enlightenment, I must achieve the state of full enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that thought, so that thought alone. So how long do you can make your mind sit on that thought? For a few seconds, for a few minutes? How long? So for right now, it's difficult for us to keep our mind on that thought alone for a long time, right? Even when we try to keep it, then then something comes up in our mind, and then our mind gets carried by other thoughts. And so once you have this pliancy, the physical and mental pliancy, then you will be able to achieve calm abiding. So there's when you practice to do meditation, you first start with the simple meditation techniques like the meditating on the breath, right? So there's a 9-round breathing meditation, where you breathe in from the right nostril and then breathe out from the left nostril. Do that 3 times, then 3 times the other way, and then 3 times from the both ways, and things like that. So this way, like you do the 9-round breathing meditation, right?
Do you want to try? try. 대체할 가능한 셈다 셈지 꾸어요. 아니 셈 꾸어요. 이제 대 셈지 또 다시로 올라왔어.
So doing that, is to bring your mind, into a state, or hook your mind back into your mind.
와 대주보다. 야, 저한테 막 대주보라 상담하니 계속 대모선 대토고도 셔바 개개 열받고 대토고도 대모선.
So can you do that? Like just breathing 3 times, and not thinking anything, without any obstructions, without any hindrances. Can you do that?
Can you do that? Okay, don't think. Just try now. Okay. Also, you have to count. Just the teeth. Yeah, man. 대주보가 디가라야 셴바 챙기면 저거 찌오래서.
And so you can count it yourself. So each time you breathe out, count 1, and then breathe in, count 1, like that.
It's okay.
And so when you're counting that, also check your mind, and also there has to be another mind on the side, which will check your mind, which will kind of spy your mind and see if it's going anywhere else.
Tell 시신스러워. 시신 땅이 더 시신. 땅이 시신스러워. 시신 송스러워. 시신 송스.
네, 시신.
시신스러워. Okay. Now anyway.
So there's this mind, that's mind that spies and checks, the main mind, whether it's doing the right thing or not. So that's called what? Introspection. The mind called introspection.
Okay. Now slowly, just start. Okay. Honest. Okay. If you think that is not, I thought that I cannot do this. Okay. Okay. Now start. Okay, how about? Can one stay there? Or go some different way, It's difficult. And first we said 3, then 6, then 9, then 21. This is a method to how you...
So it's a method to bring back your mind.
When you mind stable, then you have to start meditation.
So once you have hooked back your mind, and then you meditate on calm abiding.
You can maybe count 20. It's all very easy. My mind never go out. I just stay there. Then first you can think about maybe Buddha's image here and how you just only think that. Then also maybe you can think more maybe Buddhachita.
Then you can check how long your mind can sit on that thought, thinking I must achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So when you meditate, that's what you're supposed to think. Just sitting there without thinking anything is not meditation. And so mind just thinking, focusing on single object, like in the case of Buddha's statue, or on the thought, thinking that I must achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So if you have all the favorable conditions together and you can make the effort, then you can achieve calm abiding in like 6 months or 1 year.
You're a serious person, okay? And the Shene said, Shakpa maybe Kalaya, then Chumera Pana, who might have lost Shakpa make.
So like when there's no wind blowing, when gusting or blowing, and at that time you light the candle, the flame stays still, right? And so it's similar, the calm abiding is similar to that.
And the Shapa, you know, Shapa chip, Shapa bed, Chedi, who Samba Shimbadu, Nako, Shapa Pa, you got to that one.
So other than like the candle flame, there's a wind blowing, so it doesn't stay still, right? Flickers here, it moves here and there, right?
Much. That is the thing is the Topala, Shijan Deva Topala, sending a Tagra in the Tag, Shine Toko, Shine, de Kanji, Shijan like Deva Masana, and it actually didn't my
So in order to achieve calm abiding, we have to apply those 9 methods for settling the mind, and so that's the method we should apply. But anyway, without applying it, there's no way one can achieve calm abiding. And so one of the biggest obstacles for achieving that is the laziness.
We don't want to meditation, right? We don't want to try very hard. 오다 되니까 가지 뒤 돌아야 가지 다 등에서 토발하고 같이 깨면 뭐 깨도 다 다다가 좀 또대 계속 나오고 가지 나는 집에서 나와서 오셔라 이거 그래서 와.
And so there are many obstacles, that obstructs one from achieving calm abiding, and it's not mentioned here, but they are mentioned in the Lorig teachings, so you can look through that.
아니 다 샘내 것이죠. 샘내 것을 하든 아무 뒤로서는 샘 좁아서다 샘 예들람 좁고다 샘 거기에 지금 그거를 다 모델 샘 좁아서.
So the 9 methods, right? You know the 9 methods?
Everyone knows.
So the first one is called setting the mind.
Setting the mind means any subject. So, and the Mikhaji got not going to be the Mikhaji so to 7 minutes. I'm not in the scenario.
So it's called setting the mind, which is setting your mind on an object. So the object can be any kind of object, can be anything. Anything can be used as an object for the calm abiding. So you set your mind on that object. Like in the case of the Buddhist practitioners, they will use Buddha's statue as an object and then set the mind on that.
And the gender job, they are gently removed.
And then there's the second one called the continuous setting. It's like you set the mind on that object continuously.
Somebody let the job pass. Young Sempa, then you and the young
And the third one is the resetting the mind. So if the mind goes away, then you bring it back and reset on it again.
And then you're in job pass.
Then the closed setting.
And then double in job
Setting, the subdued setting.
Shovel job.
Pacified setting.
Number of shovel job.
Thoroughly pacified setting.
They check the job.
Single point of view setting.
And then number of job pass. Think about it.
And then setting, with meditation.
What text?
It's long term.
In the Lorig, the great stages of path enlightenment.
Yeah.
Or in the liberation of power.
Yeah, they're both there.
It's in, okay.
Yeah, they both have, okay? It's not just that. Then you can go out there, then also okay. Now we just because 7 go out, that live kitchen is what. Go out and that same thing in the career, same thing. I don't know. That two by Shons one. Cassim Cassit Chetan, the other number shot was one, that's same go out on the reservoir.
And so, the ninth one is the absorption. So absorbing your mind, on the object. So if you're able to achieve that ninth state, and at that time, you can set your mind on any object effortlessly, without making any effort. You just think about it, and your mind will sit there right away. Same 시장 the 시장 need was that 시장 that was the same 시장 that was the new and so there is this the bliss induced by the plancy, the physical plancy, and the bliss induced by a mental plancy, right? And then 시장이나 same 시장 the 내가 전에 시장 the digital 제요래서 대화니는 아니 시장 the 내가 전에 same 시장 the digital 제요래서. So first, in terms of the plancy, the mental plancy and the physical plancy, first you achieve the mental plancy, and then you'll achieve the physical plancy. But in terms of the bliss, first you achieve the bliss induced by the physical plancy, and then after that then later you achieve the bliss induced by the mental plancy. The same thing is like the number of shopping, top G. And so by being able to focus on an object, with the concentration, then your mind becomes serviceable, right? And then after that, by depending on that, then your body also becomes serviceable. And the same letter to Mate, Shashi, couple of yapena. That is the Mamu do not deal with. Can you tell it that? Tambo same and the Shijan Tevala Tene and the same letter to that same letter to the Kadion and the same Shijan section. So whenever your mind becomes serviceable, that's when you achieve that mental pliancy.
Teach tell a day, any Lee, that less room a day, less room a day, then a leash young.
So by depending on that, then there comes the physical pliancy.
That Lee, less room to young one a day, any that leading Kiola and Jobber Mandibu Semna Chane, any Lee Takazo, Lichi Devas and any that shit the Yetomwa. And that David Denim Chimbo, David Yam. That David Kano. Lee let one at ten, and then Lee te Lee Shijan from Te Kaje, and a Gawalam the Turiga. That Lee naming the Chane, that Lee, that David Yam Chimbo Jimbo.
So by depending on the mind, the serviceable mind, which is the mental pliancy of it, and then your body becomes serviceable, which is the physical pliancy. And so when you have that physical pliancy, which means like you can sit and do the practice for a long time, and then more you do that, then more you enjoy. More you do that, more you enjoy, and from that comes the bliss, being able to do it without any of the obstruction, not wanting to do it, without that obstruction, not wanting to do it, and then you want to do it more and more, you feel more happy or blissful to do that. So that is the physical, the bliss induced by the physical pliancy.
And
so there's the feeling that you get, like when you have a hair on your head, you don't feel the skull so much, you don't get much feeling in your skull. But when you shave your head and then you touch it with your hand, you get more sensitive, right? More, you get more feeling. So especially if you have a warm hand, right? You feel the warmth, the heat, right away.
But you guys have long and you can never work on this. But don't shave your hair, okay? I want this bless, I want to shave my hair. That Tenedo Gawa, you any time Yetoma, that shouldn't Yetoma, that denim, tell at any summer got it. Did you got the Lani? That Lishi, Semshi Yang said. That Lishi Yang, the Semshi day was. Lishi and the Dawala Tene, Semshi and the Dawala day was.
And so then from there, from the physical, the bliss induced by the physical pliancy, and then you achieve that bliss induced by the mental pliancy.
Today, listen, she lead us, lead us, some she and Dawate shoot that thing in somebody now, and it does, she needs, that she never drops it, that she never did.
So when you have that, the bliss of the mental pliancy and the bliss of physical pliancy, conjoined with that concentration or calm abiding, and then that is or with that concentration, and then when you have the concentration conjoined with that physical and mental appliances, and then that's when you achieve the calm abiding.
And today, that is Semnaka, today, Sempelatene, Tanodo, Jenny Bonamashata, that got a leader Semata, they were Hajati, the moment, the going was.
So by meditating with that, then you will experience a lot of physical and mental blisses.
What I should enter was that day, there was that in the door. Kanji. On the Lamna Jaco, the Kanjita, Susu, Yamlechini, that's Samatoya, Karzota, or Pachas and Kanjita, Yamu, was.
So this is something that one has to engage in the practice to really understand, to really experience. Just by explaining with the word, one will not understand that.
Do you guys saw some picture, the elephant, for the person holding the elephant? Then after he's running above the elephant,
So you have seen the picture. You know, there's this the 9 stage in the picture, you know, of the elephant, and there's a wild elephant, and then it becomes more subdued and more subdued, more subdued. And then there's also, you know, the monkey riding on the elephant. And so those are the examples of how, you know, your mind becomes more and more subdued, you know, as you reach the higher and higher stage. And so finally, then your mind is completely subdued, and then you can, you know, put it wherever you want it. You know? And that's when you have actually achieved the calm abiding. So once you have achieved the calm abiding, then any practice we do becomes very easy for us to do. So most of us, we do know, you know, how to do some of the practices, right? So we're not able to do it really well, perfectly, right, with the, you know, with the full concentration and so forth. So that's because of not having calm abiding.
Okay, calm abiding.
Okay, so then after that is the conscientiousness, right? And so, it says now regarding the conscientiousness, the companion of knowledge says, question, what is conscientiousness? It is the cultivation of virtuous qualities within abiding in non-attachment, non-hatred, non-ignorance, as well as effort. The guards, you know, of the guards that and guards the mind, you know, against the contamination. It has the function of thoroughly completing and fully establishing all mundane and permanent success. So, you know, without letting the mind, you know, be influenced by any of these, you know, delusions like attachment, hatred, and ignorance. And the mind that guards one's, you know, from, guards against the contamination, you know, means like, you know, not letting the mind, you know, to engage in non-virtuous actions. And then the mundane and super mundane, you know, so it's like functions, you know, of thoroughly completing and fully establishing all mundane and super mundane successes. So mundane is worldly, and then super mundane is transworldly. So the worldly and transworldly again is ordinary beings and not non-ordinary beings, like those who have realized emptiness directly, like, you know, the super mundane, and those who have not realized emptiness directly is mundane. So inconscientiously, so like if you drink alcohol inconscientiously, that means like, you know, without any control, right? Like, you know, without, you know, caring, you just drink, you know, without any limit, you know, just keep on drinking, you know, without thinking, you know, what bad things would happen and so forth. And so it's like the mind, you know, that protects us or guards us from, you know, going into a wrong, doing bad things, or, you know, generating bad thoughts. Like if the mind is about to get angry, then before it gets angry, it says, oh, you know, I should not get angry. So that's being more conscientious, right?
사체의 셈송이래 사체에다 다 무기가 유무라고 그래서
so abiding in the abiding in effort, without the mind go under the influence of the attachment, hatred, and ignorance, and has an regards the mind against contamination.
One patient was. Dalai and Nai, Tadela Nai,
so he says, just as it is said above, it is an awareness that accomplishes virtue within abiding in the effort without coming under the influence of affliction, and it guards the mind against contamination. Regarding this, Asanga says Bodhisattva ground mentions the 5 types. So it says here, conscientiousness, with respect to the former, with respect to the later, with respect to middle, period to activity, prior to activity, and concordant in application. And then it says, so the first one, is the correction of the past faults in accordance with the Dharma. So with respect to the latter, is the earnest intention to do so in the future. And so then the middle, is the present. It's talking about the present, being conscientiousness, about the things, things, to do or do not to do at the present time without forgetting. And then prior to activity, it says the tightening of the mind, thinking how wonderful it would be if I could behave and abide in ways such that faults do not arise. And then the fifth one, the conscientiousness of concordant application, is independence on that, behaving and abiding accordingly. And so this is what the Lama Tsongkhapa said in his Highway to Enlightenment explanation of the ethics of Bodhisattvas. And since it has been taught that it has the function of acting as the support for achieving all mundane and permanent success, it is of utmost importance as the root of all paths and grounds. So to aid to that, then the author quoted from Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, and it says, Amuni taught that consciousness is the source of nectar, of the nectar of immortality, and non-consciousness is that of death.
바다 됨바지 되네다 개와 중간에 가는 바다 됨바지 is.
It says, therefore, for the sake of enhancing your virtuous qualities, respectfully, always be conscientious.
간제 바에서 해야 간제 있다. 먼저 빌리트 고수고서는 거기다. 간제 수수 샘 영어가 너 맞중이라고 싶어.
So it's like the God, in one's mind that stops us from entering into the non-virtuous actions or following the delusions.
Okay? That's it. Then you have a question. Another question. Yeah, go ahead.
So maybe this is just the English translation, but it occurs to me that there is a relationship between the two mental factors we discussed today, pliancy and conscientiousness, and the object ascertaining mental factors of mindfulness and meditative stabilization, where meditative stabilization would be related to pliancy, and mindfulness would be related to conscientiousness. Is it true that in order to have conscientiousness, one also must have mindfulness, and similarly for pliancy and meditative stabilization?
신장은 가서 땡겨지니 땡겨지랬다 땡겨지라 말해 땡겨진다 신장이 집어라고 쳐 안에 신장 저가서 신장을 여와라 땡겨지고 그래서 먼저 하나 땡겨지다 싫어서 그렇게 싫어라 아 되네 그래서 대바도 뭐 전주안에 삼대 싫어서 삼대다 안에 다들 신장이 이렇게 좋아요. 신장 영화라 그래서 때 때문에 3대 보듯 안테나시 때는 다들 대바당 근데 바이오니디 집어려 그러셔서 바이오 영화라 대바 보듯 대바면은 바이오 영화였어.
대 나나 전발한테 바이오 영화를 왔어.
Yes, that's true. I think they are kind of related, right?
대
So
강가
in order to be conscientious, you have to have mindfulness. If you don't know or if you don't remember, then you will not be able to be conscientious.
안에 딱 넘바서 계신 거지. 넘바 민다도 강가요 그 말. 한번 넘바. 근데 뭐 봐. 넘바서 계신 거야 말이지.
So again, this is the aspiration is very important. Without aspiration, this will not come. And then also the belief also is very important.
넘바지 뭐 봐라. 아니 템바. 아니 바다나서 가져야 돼.
The first one is what? Understanding mental factors, right? Belief, and then with the aspiration, and then we have the mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, right?
Concentration, meditative stabilization.
누조 가리다 개회선.
So anyway, these are all virtuous minds, right?
그래다 다 누조 샘도는 제고 그래서 다 뒤나라야 아니 가시 영해나는 로이 가시 끊어는 로이 달라다 영해나 그냥 시장에서 다 영해를 바꾸는 그 영해는 바로
And so the some from the object ascertaining mental factor, and some from the omnipresent mental factors. So the concentration and the mindfulness, they all fall into the ascertaining mental factor, right? Object ascertaining mental factor.
그래. 다 시장 걸어도 말 왔어. 다 띵에들은 발라봐이나. 아니 가지 시장에 띵에도 더 발랐다 시장 더 보고
So in order to achieve concentration, full concentration, you have to achieve the pliancy first.
그래서 관계 봐 대치 진짜되는 거예요, 가지.
So yeah, and they are kind of interrelated with each other.
지금 영화를 지금 거 봐. 지금 영화를 지금 편도에 왔는데 그래서.
So in order to have one, you have to have the other ones. So they are all kind of related in that way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Geshe, coming back to the 9-round breathing. The 9-round breathing meditation. My question is, I thought I heard you say that you could increase it to 21 rounds, and then transfer from the breathing to another object. And then we can achieve calm abiding in 6 months. With great effort and consistency. Did I hear that right? That you need to transfer from the breathing to the object, the other objects, or can the calm abiding be achieved just with that kind of practice of the
breathing alone?
The breathing only, yes.
대연아.
이거
이거 초초 이러와.
좋죠.
일단 나도 남주 되네 저거잖아 왔어. 초도 초고 이러왔어.
저거자리 가라했어.
아니 샘나 앞에나 먼저 라카로 먼저 문에 직 라카도 들지보다 대는 게 와서 보여봐. 아니 고지오자가 이랬어.
So
맞아. 샘 코라라 뒤지던다. 딱고 같이 샘 템포 못 하고 왔어.
So, like I said, you can use any kind of object for calm abiding. You can achieve through that. So, but Buddhist practitioners use Buddha's statue. That's just for putting a positive imprint of the Buddha statue. So, because we believe that just by seeing the statue, just by thinking about it, just by reflecting on it, you can purify the karma state. So that's why we use that. But you can use any object. So breathing can be the object also. A mind can be an object, and anything can be object, for calm abiding. But the purpose of doing, in general, like not necessarily for the calm abiding, but in general, when we do the breathing meditation, that is a method to bring back your mind into a place. So your mind is scattered all over the place, So if you try to think about something, because your mind is scattered in other things, you can't think about that thing that you want to think about. And so then the breathing is the method to bring your mind back, so into the place. So once it's in the place, then you can use that, to think about anything. When your mind is not occupied on other object, so now it's free, right? It's not thinking any object, so now it's free. Now then you can use it. So when it's occupied on other objects, and to bring in another object is difficult, or sometimes it's impossible.
근데 저 뒤꼬자도 싸움을 했다. 레이시 리다 샘 시작을 대화. 저거보다 그게 더 많아니 다시 내는 거예요.
And so usually, the breathing is, say your mind, is occupied with something, and then it's tricking your mind. It says, so bring your mind here, and then let the mind, be placed by other objects. So anyway, so that's the reason why you do the breathing meditation. And then once you have found your object, then you focus on that as long as you need, to set your mind on that, and then reset it again, and then continuously set on that. And so do that, all those methods that's explained, and then eventually you'll be able to achieve the calm abiding.
Okay? Are you very welcome? Effort. Also, we do the tongue some of them karana,
so when you're doing meditation retreat, then there's during the retreat that you set up a time for session and then post session or in between the sessions. So during the session, you're supposed to meditate, right? So during the retreat, during the session, you are doing the retreat of the practice, whatever you are retreating on, either it's a meditation or like recitation of the mantra or a visualization of the deity. And you do that during the session. But during the break of the session or in between the session, then you engage in other practice to accumulate more merit again. And so, like I said, those methods, the setting the mind, continuous setting and resetting and all these things. So you have to use that, to continue to, to be able to focus more and more. So you set your mind on that, but then it goes away, then you do it again and do it again and again many times.
I think maybe this is meditation more Western is more maybe serious. Holiness told last year in India, he has one French and Western guy or I don't know. Now he can meditation one object 4 hours. without moving any other object. Same way, tradition that we yeah, 4 hours. 5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. You just try, but try to even if you got a chance, just try. Whatever process, maybe reading meditation, or maybe once, or somewhere that you can also. I want to show and benefit all the Semje Bidka, the Semje Tamche, the Tamche Komato, show me you Taran, did you borrow something that will do?
So you can check, whether you can, put your mind on that thought alone for, for a little while. That thought thinking, I must achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Just think about that. Usually we say meditation, pradhati. Usually we don't do meditation, right? We just read the books, that's blah, 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 blah. But really, just try. Maybe Buddha tells you that you just only think, not 1 month watch your mind. It's going other place, thinking other place. Then main mind, just focus on one subject. How long you stay, how come? Then maybe today 2 seconds, maybe tomorrow 3 seconds, then 5. Little by little. Shandi there was a
so there isn't anything that doesn't become easier with familiarity.
Right. First you guys come here, doesn't know how you read this book. Difficult, Particularly, they are dependent finance. Is it finance?
Phonetics.
Kinetics is difficult to talk about. But if you use to more easy. Okay? You know that. Try, okay? Just try. Yeah.
Yeah, so I notice when I do meditation, the thing that happens to me the most, what I see the most is usually places I've visited. Those are always what pops in my mind the most. And sometimes I can even see whatever object, like if it's a Buddha or a deity, I can see it perfectly clearly, and my mind doesn't waver from that object at all. But then in the background, there's all these other things. And so I never know what to I try to focus on the object, but then behind it, there's all these other things that are popping up constantly. And I never know what to visualize around in the background or in the space around it. I never know what to visualize with that Buddha.
상계 고라고라다 셈세시 대대바이나 상계 고도 제거도서라 근데 대자블라드네 하랑게다 니마 사자도서 사자도서 뭐모치도 무도서 사자도서 샤르도서 아니 하랑다 상계 고도나 상계 잡라 하라고 거래 로라 샤워치 보이나스
티자로다 자로로 상마 진짜 자로 상도 상도 파타면서 드리센트 마카오스.
So you're thinking about the back also. So you're not just only thinking about the Buddha, but you're also thinking about the back. So the thought about the back, the back scene, is a distraction.
Well, sometimes distraction. Sometimes
distraction, yeah. So
I can see
so
it.
you should not think about the other things. You just.
They should you're not very focused. You think about behind what.
I have almost like I can see the Buddha perfectly, and then I'll be standing in the parking lot of somewhere I was earlier, and I just don't know how to get that image out of my head. I usually don't know what to visualize with the Buddha, because I see the Buddha and then there's space around. I can see all of it, and usually I don't know what to put in the space.
Thubten Damchoe 상계 여가지 상계 잡았더니 쉐가 여가지 쉐가 그래서 상담을
대단한 방송에서 ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 제가 대나라 산지 쇼이가 됐다 쇼이가
쉐가 나왔는데 그래서
어느 산지 쇼이가
So, there are descriptions of the mandala, right? The celestial mansion, where the Buddha is residing. And there's a description of the whole place, with all the pillars and beams and all the things that decorates the celestial mansion. So if you think about it, that's okay. So then you think about that and then think that Buddha is, sitting or dwelling in there. And you can think like that kind of background is okay. That's included in the meditation that you're supposed to meditate on. But if you're thinking about, the McDonald's that you went to,
it's like
you said the food that.
It's weird. It's not
somebody eating Big Mac.
Yeah. I'm not trying to focus on it, but it's almost like I'm just there. It's weird.
Yeah.
Even if I see the deity perfectly, but I'll be in a parking lot or something strange.
Not very good. You don't go back to it.
That kind of background is not good. So
Yeah,
you
this
should
is
not
not
think
good.
about
I don't know how to get it out of my head.
Koran다디 샤르부르 되는 거다. 마샤치 가르치.
They cover it, they cover it.
You have to stop it.
Yeah.
Tate ka dig ka rena to tate gebar jo.
Like, go back. Yeah, your mind gets so excited about all those places that you know, that's the mental excitement.
Tene shayuna, ane jay ka samta, tino samta, ti le la lo.
And so maybe if something has to come in the background, then you can think about appropriate ones, like the Celestial mention, you know, all these things. Or other Buddhas, other Buddhas and Bodhisattvas behind him,
Is it okay?
or goddesses around him making offering to him.
Yeah.
Is it okay just if I can just space? Would that be okay too?
Yeah.
Or just like,
안 하시고 삼사는
Yeah, you get it. Nazo banana namchi samta chi was.
okay, I'll try.
just space here.
But don't go to parking place, you know. You go bathroom there, something, nothing. Tene lo me chada ta something there na.
So that shows that mind is not stable.
Thank you, Geshe.
Not a Red Sox game.
Yeah, that's again.
Mine's mostly work.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Geshe.
Yep,
Just to add a little bit to
good. Add something.
Just to add a little bit to what Ian was talking about, I don't know if, I think I read this somewhere, and I don't know if this is, I guess I'm also checking with if this is a good way to handle like what Ian's talking about. I know like when I've meditated, you know, I'm trying to focus on a particular subject, and you know, other thoughts will come around, but I thought this was helpful, that if you have other thoughts, just rather than try to chop them or attack them or stop them, just let them like float by, like, you know, that's been kind of, I mean, I'm very low level, but I thought that was kind of helpful. Let them just like, the image of like letting the thought float away, and then you know, come back to the original object that you're focusing on. Because if you're trying to attack or cut out the distraction, that'll like, you're feeding it. Kind of. I don't know if that makes sense.
For the beginning level, that's, yeah, you're right.
So like let it go by like a little cotton cloud, like just go float away. Does that make sense? I don't know.
The 렌드 접어서 찍어라 드려다. 그러면 쌤 누구라도 아무나 까탑시나 까하고 찍어라. 까한테 도주 그냥 양교초죠.
양념치라. Yeah.
So that's what we call the resetting, you know. So your mind, you know, you try to set on the object. And then something comes out, then your mind follows that. And then, but you have to think, you know, you should not let it follow all the way again, you know. You know, so you have to be mindful. And then say, oh no, I have to go back. So bring back again your mind there. And so bring it back again. And then it goes, then try bring it back. And then later, when you get used to it, then your mind will sit there all the time, and then you do not follow other things.
Does that imagery sound right? You know, like, you know, there's a thought, you say to yourself, I'm not going to fight it. I'm just not going to feed it. It's just going to blow away.
Yeah, at the beginning, if you do that, then it will be, you know, it will not be easy. It will make, you know, it will worse. So, like you said, don't fight at the beginning. But later, of course, you have to fight. You know, but you're not, you know, when you reach that level, then you have to fight. Yes.
Also, when you have that record, then you can stop, do other things, then try again. Don't push too much. When you have difficult, then stop, do other things a little bit, then come back again. Then again difficult, then stop, do other things, you know. Then oh, you ain't too much.
So yeah, do it many times, but you know, do it clear. Try to do it as pure as possible, as good as possible. And so if you can't do it, you know, good for too long, then that's okay. Just do good for short time, and it's better than doing, you know, long, not good, you know, long time.
And when whatever we do something, you know, it's not very work, very difficult, then try again, then we got angry, right? Then we thought, oh, just forgot, then we completely forgot. When you have difficult times, of course you get to stop, you know, but completely stop, do some other things, then come back again to the other. This is some method. Okay?
Thank you.
I don't know if you checked your textbook on page 47. At the bottom, there's the note, for the mind, the 9 settings, the 9 mental abiding are. So then setting the mind, continuous setting, resetting, close setting, disciplining, pacifying, thorough setting, making one-pointedness, and setting an equipoise.
This is in Lamram Chemo and
So there's more detailed explanation about that in Great Lambdin and also in the Liberation of the Palm of your hand.
You want to meditation come about it. I think Lamram Chemo was more. Lamram Chemo
Yeah, the Lama Tsongkhapa was the Great Lambdin, the great stages of the path of enlightenment, and it has more explanation, more detailed explanation.
Also a little bit more difficult to understand. Okay? Then, another question? You guys more debate?
Tonight's not a debate.
Uh-huh. He doesn't want something to debate Okay, yeah.
I was just going to ask really quick while we're on the topic of meditation. I have a problem with my eyes. I don't know where to look. Like when I have my eyes open, I find my eyes wandering around and it becomes distracting. And so then I close my eyes to try and get rid of that distraction. But then I'm told you're not supposed to close your eyes. So I open up again and then my eyes start wandering around.
좀 줘라.
좀 줘버리세요. 수술이 좀 줘버리세요. 일단 아주 거기서 좀 나타나 봐보세요. 이게 수술 나가 동네 따뜻한 거 보고 그러죠.
So you can close your eyes, if that is helpful, you can close your eyes. The main thing is to think of the object. So if you can think of the object better, with your eyes closed, you can do that. The problem with that is if you close your eyes, then you fall asleep. So that's why he says you should not close. That's the only reason. But if that is not the thing, if that's not the case, then you can close your eyes. But usually, so for that reason, because of that, wide open is not good because you see all these things and you get distracted. And if you close completely, then you fall asleep, not good. So there's the mental sinking and mental excitement. And so therefore the proper way to do is, the proper way of doing is, to cast your eye down to the tip of your nose, and your mind, your body has to be so straight, pretty straight, that your mind, from your, from your eye, you cast it on the tip of your nose, and then from there, the tip of your stomach, like to the navel. So it has to be straight like this. So that's how straight your body has to be. So, and also joke, if you have a big belly, you don't have to.
Don't your eyes cross when you do that?
Sorry?
Don't your eyes cross when you do that?
Not necessary.
No?
No. I mean, it depends, right? So some people might feel that way.
Well, I've heard 4 finger widths in front of your nose.
No, to the tip of the nose.
No, to the tip, and then you look slightly in front.
Yeah.
So if you look directly at your nose, your eyes do cross.
No, don't do that. Just look at you, then a little bit head also.
밑에 파츠 가서 니 가서 잡아 니도 통하는 차를 봐. 파츠 크로스 차이였어.
No. Anyway, just try to then.
Yeah, you can use that method also if you find that.
And then a little bit head, a little bit.
So anyway, that's one technique, but it doesn't have to be like that way, But if you find it, if your eyes are crossing and then that's again distraction, then that's not good. So then, like Ian said, you can look a little bit far away.
Okay.
From your tip of your nose, far off a little bit.
Alright, then that's my top similar more. Okay, yeah, they know that. Really not should do this.
So you follow those, the 7 postures of the Virchana.
And you can.
So when you're meditating, you follow that posture.
All them. 7.
The 7 postures of Virchana. You're familiar with that?
Everybody knows? Everybody use?
Yeah.
Good. This is good, you guys use? Good.
Yeah.
This is practice, okay? Whatever you learn, you try to use it practice. In other words, we learn, okay, same as I go to English class. Never go up,
Yeah.
Right? Teachers are doing homework just after that. But don't tell me, okay? Okay? It's just quiet. This is not let's tell you, this is I just talk about previous time. Now Lisa told me that little bit, I try to read a little bit. This is good, okay? Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Also, maybe you guys should look at the nose, feel between the nose. It's a very typical big nose. Asia because very small, very flat, flat, flat nose. And Western has very big nose, that's easy to see.
Yeah, easier.
Okay, thank you. Okay, chanting master.
Okay.